Hello and welcome back to Lost Odyssey. We are currently in the middle of a dungeon escape. Maybe a prison break? No, we'll go with dungeon escape. Sounds a little more fantasy-y that way. Did a little tiny bit of off-screen grinding because I was bored. Ooh. One short. Dick move. Damn them. I mean, I feel like they're all gonna be locked, but I still want to try them just in case. Ooh, the double dog. I should heal up a little bit. Oh, yeah, that's all of them. Oh, it must have left the game running when I had my Xbox on sleep mode. Otherwise, there's no way 35 hours makes any goddamn sense. Well, shit.
Shh. はい。聞こえるか？
おい、ヤンセン。
この音はハープだろう。例の女王様じゃないかな。構うな。面倒のもとだ。俺はな、いい女には鼻が利くんだ。女王様は絶対にいい女だって。いっぺんご尊顔を拝閲しとかなきゃ男が廃るってもんよ。
ちょっとたくどういうつもり？開けろ、ヤンセン。たくあいつ
知っているのか、女王。
昔ね、もし何も変わっていなければきっと私の知ってる人。
お前は記憶が戻っているようだな。過去が怖くはないのか。
私は過去が好き。過去のおかげで私があるんだし。違う？あれも今の私を形作った過去の一つ。私に手を差し伸べた彼女ってば笑ってたな。座礁して海のど真ん中で立ち往生してる海賊見てさ、怖がるわけでもなく、私はそいつになんていうか強さと優しさを感じた。
Oh, is it another memory already?
それでお宝をごっそりいただいたってわけさ。女王は海賊の私を咎めるどころか王宮に招き入れてくれた。そしていろんな話をした。ほんと驚いたよ。お偉いさんにこんな話せる人がいるなんてね。いや、話せるだけじゃない。初めて会ったのになんかこう前から知ってるような、そんな気がした。懐かしい気すらしたよ。それに私は久しぶりに笑った。彼女もそう思ってたかわからないけど、ともかく彼女は私の話に夢中だった。東方部族の廃墟でお宝を見つけたこととか、いけすかない海賊をぶっ潰したこととか、もういろいろさ。でも後になって思うと、彼女は私の話を通して一瞬でも自由になりたかったのかもしれない。
これを。
苦労しないで女王様のお宝いただけるなんて、私も運が向いてきたな。
いいえ、お貸しするだけ。今度また会えた時に返していただくわ。
こんくらいの余力がなくちゃやってられねえっての。悪いな、長生きさん。 お待ちくださいませ。決して怪しいものではございません。ありがとうございます。今少し警備の方々を呼ぶのはお控えくださいまし。
あなたは？
突然の無礼をどうかお許しください、女王陛下。私はヤンセンと申すただのうつけにございます。あなた様の奏でるハープの音色に惹かれ参りました。
一体どこから？ホワイトボアは航行中なのに。
こんなにも心を動かされる音色を耳にしたら、たとえ海を行く船の上といえど男は皆翼を持ってあなた様に会いに来ることでしょう。ほら、こんな風に。どうかお名前を、女王陛下。
ミンヌマラ。
やっと笑顔を見せていただいた。どうぞもっとお笑いくださいませ。うつけのざれ言にございます。その微笑みを見ることができただけでも翼持ちここに来た甲斐があったというもの。
どうなさいまして？
無礼を承知で申し上げますれば、その微笑み、うららかながらもそうどこか儚く寂しそうだ。先ほどのハープの音色、あの音色はまさにあなた様の心のありようを映し出していたのですね。
私の心。
優しく温かながら時として深い悲しみ色に沈むことがあるのです。私が惹かれたのもそんな音色の浮き沈み、この音色を奏でる人の力になりたいと。
それは。
あなた様を柔らかく癒して差し上げます。どうか私に委ねてください。ここにいてはあなた様の心はもっと悲しみ色に染まってしまう。
私の心が悲しみ色。
Did you just roofie the goddamn queen?
なぜ私のもとに来たの？
いい女。何言ってんだ。
何？
陛下の部屋だ、急げ。あっちだ。お前たちは。
ヤンセンのタコ。
Alright. No cool secrets back there. Crank up this music a little bit too.
Itai なぜこんなところに。さては女王をかどわかそうと目論んでいるんだね。
違う。
無抵抗なのは良いことだ。切ったで。はっ。お前たちは私と陛下の部屋に来い。了解了解。陛下、高梨です。今何やら大きな音が聞こえましたが。陛下、ここをお開けください。陛下。
ダメです。開きません。
ブリッジ、直ちに女王陛下の部屋を開けろ。緊急事態だ。
変ですね。ビクともしません。
こらブリッジ、どこのドアを開けたんだ。よもや緊急脱出用の扉を開けたってはあるまいな。
So what the fuck compelled him to roofie and kidnap the queen? Ooh, that's some good horn. Not Jansen's horn. I mean the horn in the soundtrack. This horn is bad, very bad. We do not care for this horn. Oh, Jansen's on his own for a battle? That's not good. Fair question, man. Ostensibly, it is the 10th Final Fantasy. Since I think that was the first one Sakaguchi wasn't part of.
それともお前も追ってってわけじゃねえな。感謝しろよ。
お優しいのですね。
ああ、お目覚めですか。
Yeah, I noticed he followed me. Thank you for that, by the way.
なんか変なことなさいましたか。
ごめんなさい。初めから眠ってなどいなかったのです。
は？
あなたの真意が見えず試しました。申し訳なく思います。
いや、だったらこれ何とかしてくれます。
できません。私は女王。このままあなたと行くわけにはいかないのです。
だってあんたカカナスとか言えるにケチョンケチョンに言われてるんだぜ。こんなところにだって楽しくねえだろ。
それでも行くことはできません。その足は大丈夫。少しの間そこにいてほしいだけ。それ以上石にはなりませんわ。
ありがてえ。大事なところまで石にされちゃかなわねえからな。
やっとあなたらしい言葉を紡ぎましたこと。うつろな言葉はかえって自分を醜く見せるだけ。
それはどうもご親切に。正直固い喋りは肩凝るんでね。しかし燃えるぜ女王様。足が元に戻ったら本気で口説かせてもらうぜ。
女王陛下。
やっべ、ツルツル岩石が切れやった。
ご無事ですか。
もう
I think it looks a fair set better than Final Fantasy X, but I've never really cared for that one. Except for the big titty goth girlfriend. She was pretty great. Lulu, I think her name was? Is he doing shit magic? He is making a shit golem. And he's loving it. Yep, shoes coming into port.
とすべての意志、そしてすべての献身がここに集う。波紋を持たぬ水面が映し出す己の姿から目をそらすことなく、その欲望に身を支配されることなく、平穏とみなぎる力を共存させるためにヌマラは存在する。この者たちを町に放とう。この者たちと自由に話そう。
It's an outfit I quite appreciate.
この者たちの欲望を知るのだ。さあ、
Like, I don't think they had Amano do the art for this, but definitely whoever did the art took a lot of inspiration from them.
お前たちは自由を得た。
メイ、
旅の者よ、寛大なる女王陛下のお心遣いによってお前たちは放免となった。どこなりと行くがよかろう。これにて3回。
何よ、放免されたら無視ってわけ？
いいじゃないの。晴れて自由の身なんだから、みんに感謝しようぜ。
さっきから気になるわね、その呼び方。あんたもしかして女王に何かした？
なによ、バカなこと言ってんじゃないですか。
Jansen hides many secrets. No, I want to inspect the throne that looks like it's got balls. Bullshit. Man, I don't want them to keep their secrets. Ooh, kitty. Can I interact with Kitty? No. Nope, almost missed that. Really bugs me the camera control is so weird.
役目大義でございました。
あれでよかったのですか？
目的はただ一つ、奴らを泳がせ、ウーラへの接触の事実をつかむことです。
そして何を得るのです？
ウーラの工作員という事実をつかんで再度拘束いたします。彼らは対ウーラの交渉カードに利用します。もちろんこの交渉の先に我々が得るのはグランドスタッフの
They
情報
did.
です。
They gave her titty
グランド
veins.
スタッフ？
Wow.
ウーラは
I don't think I've ever seen that in a game
グランドスタッフと名
before.
付けた巨大な魔導機関を建造し、何やら測っている模様です。今やウーラは
Eh, she's not got much left to
大
lose,
変な脅威なのです。
except her choker or her shawl.
ウォール高原での惨劇はグランドスタッフと何らかの関連があると我が情報部は結論付けております。このままウーラの暴走を許せばいつまた惨劇が繰り返されるやもしれません。我ら軍部はこれを阻止せんとしてウーラへの攻撃を全軍一致で採択いたしました。
戦争を起こすつもりですか？
すでにホワイトボアを戦闘機関とするべく武装強化に着手しております。
Man, if I gotta pick between jiggle physics and titty veins, I'm gonna go titty
許しま
veins.
せん。いけません。
陛下は望まずとも国民は納得するでしょう。陛下が推し進めてきた我が国の鎖国政策、魔導産業革命の現在、すでに限界に達しております。
鎖国は平和を願ってのことです。
いいですか、これは世界の平和のためにヌガラが取るべき新国家体制の始まりでもあるのです。我々は女王陛下の教えのもとに平和を広めんがために武力を持つのです。
武力は暴力にいともたやすく転じるとは思いませんか？
ヌガラに小惑星を落とされても良いというのですか。そうなれば陛下を慕う多くの国民が一瞬のうちに灰と化してしまうのですぞ。グランドスタッフはウーラのような愚かな国家ではなく我がヌマラのコントロール下に置きます。そして平和のために利用するのです。これをもってヌマラは世界最強の平和国家になりうるのですぞ。必然の戦争というものもある
Yeah,
のです
it's the one benefit to not, Well, I was gonna agree with you, but Bravely Default 2 had a shit story. I would have preferred a roguelike story. Not even just Hades, like Undermine would have been better. Although, an RPG with the story of Hades and the mechanics of Bravely Default, that would not be half bad. Alright, where can I buy new stuff? Hades didn't need jiggle physics or titty veins. It got by with story and, oh, which goddess was it that was just, like, nude? Not Dionysus. Aphrodite. And so many cats and not a pet button in sight. This track may be a little too close to a Final Fantasy track. It sounds super familiar. Hades could get away with murder. And it does. I mean, you do murder your dad a whole bunch. Are none of you an actual salesperson? Guess not. Oh, I am gonna have to play some more Hades at some point. Justify that arcade stick purchase. Love me a good dog. Yeah, it takes a while to kind of figure out what your playstyle is with Hades, or which of the multiple playstyles you kind of like. I had a lot of success with the bow and the gun, but I also hear those aren't like weapons most people prefer. I know the fists are really popular, and I don't know, just the fists are what I hear a lot. Oh, I do like the shield. That one kind of hurts my fingers after a while, because so much of the shield is dash attacking for me. There's no way across from here. To the next screen. she building Leonardo da Vinci's flying machine? Yeah, I'd sit on that thing. If the pointy end were covered. Or at least smoothed out a little bit. Come on, I know I saw the examine button pop up. There we go. Yeah, it's been cool, man. Thanks for joining me. Sure, I'd love to play with strange street children. It's not creepy. The Brave Little Boy, Part 1. Once, there was a little boy who was very brave. He was also very well behaved, so all of his family loved him very much. In a nearby mountain, there was an evil monster who liked to cause trouble for the people in town, ruining their crops and kidnapping their children. He was strong. His fangs were sharp, and his body was covered with tough scales, so none of the soldiers in the land were strong enough to defeat him. One day, the brave little boy saw how distressed the townspeople were. "Why is everyone crying?" he asked his mother. "The evil monster kidnapped the princess," she answered. "Why was the princess kidnapped?" the boy asked. "The monster likes little children and beautiful princesses the most because their meat is soft and succulent," answered the mother. "So he eats the rich. I appreciate that. He's a good monster." "Why isn't anyone helping the princess?" the boy asked. The mother answered, "The soldiers tried to rescue her, but they were all killed by the monster." The monster was one of the strongest in the land. Even when every soldier in town banded together to fight him, he just opened his enormous mouth and swallowed them up, all at once. "But mother," the boy exclaimed. "Pardon? Doesn't he have any weaknesses?" "The monster has no scales on the tip of its tail," his mother said, "so when you touch it, they say it pains him terribly." "But the monster is crafty, and he never shows his tail to anyone. He always keeps his enemy in front of him." Upon hearing that from his mother, the brave little boy had a brilliant idea. To be continued. I hope that's part 2, because I want to know what he did. The Brave Little Boy, Part 2. Sneaking out of town one day, the brave little boy was spotted by his friend, the little bird. "Where are you going? The monster is ahead, and it's dangerous." "That's exactly what I need your help with. Could you go to the other side of the mountain and peck the monster on the head for me? You're small, and you can do it while flying." The bird perched on the little boy's shoulder. "All right, you're my friend, so I'll help you." The boy and the bird climbed the mountain. The bones of the monster's victims were scattered across the mountainside, and the monster's fearsome bellow... That came out right. Fearsome bellow grew louder and louder. "Here I go," said the bird as it took off, and the boy collected sharp, pointy stones and put them in his pocket. As he approached the mountaintop, the boy saw the gigantic monster. He sat still and waited silently until, from the other side of the mountain, he saw the bird shoot down like an arrow and peck the monster's head with his sharp beak. The monster, surprised, turned around and tried to swallow the impertinent little bird. Just then, the boy lunged at the monster's exposed tail and drove his sharp stones deep into the soft flesh of the beast. The monster flailed about in pain, but the boy held on to his tail, refusing to let go. One by one, he plunged all of the sharp stones from his pocket into the monster's tail. Eventually, it proved to be too much for the mighty beast, and with a mighty thump, he fell to the ground. The brave little boy found the kidnapped princess and returned home to his mother. The brave little boy married the princess, and his bird friend was awarded all the bread crusts he could eat. That's a shitty fucking reward. And they all lived happily ever after. The end. The bird got fucking leftover bread. Couldn't even give him, like, a loaf. Just crust. Bird took all the goddamn risk, too. No, none of that rings right. Bird got robbed. Just like I'm robbing this family. Oh, come on. Well, I guess it's not stealing if they tell me to do it. And I did need some insect innards. Oh, come on. Go through. Did I miss you? I feel like I missed you. Alright, I think I can make another ring. Ooh. Ultra. Double ultra. The bio ring seems important to make. Even though that's gonna mean no... Oh wait, no, I can still make this. It's fine. Already got a jamming ring. Anger-ing. I'm pretty happy with what everybody's got on right now, so I won't touch that. Fucking brave little boy. God damn it. Is that gonna let me make the better version of the poison ring already? It is. Well, well, well. It hadn't been doing great work so far, but maybe if I keep making it better. What? I can... But... why can't he fit through that opening? There's so much opening. Let me into that door. Just... why must you tease me with invisible walls? I should plug my phone in real quick. Not that I'm super low, but I always like to be above 80. Yep, more books. Great snacks for kids. Sweet, fluffy steam... Oh, but I go through fast. I hate missing part. Great snacks for kids. Sweet, fluffy steamed cakes are a hit among children everywhere. Add in some fruit for a novel delight. Ingredients: eggs, milk, sugar, flour, 1 tablespoon baking powder, pinch of salt, fruits, as many as you like. First, sift the flour and baking powder. Mix the eggs, milk, and sugar and salt into a bowl and beat well. Then blend in the sifted flour and baking powder. Cut the fruit into small pieces and work into the mix, leaving a small amount to decorate the finished cake later. Put the mix into molds and place into the steamer. I've never steamed a cake, but I don't see why you wouldn't. Put in a toothpick and check if it comes out clean. If it does, the steamed cake is done. Dress it up with various colorful fruits to dazzle your children. This seems like actual good cooking advice. Best served with hot tea. The Eastern Tribe Campaign. Under the rule of its 1,000-year-old queen, Numara enjoyed an unprecedented period of peace. The hypercurrent served as a barrier against outside invasions, and Her Majesty's policy of peaceful coexistence served to strengthen the nation. Numara first faced danger 500 years ago when an eastern tribe wielding powerful spirit magic sent a massive force into Numara. The army entered from southwest, clashing with our forces in a fierce battle in the lush forest that covers the region. Man, I screwed up one of my teeth, and I feel like I'm lisping now. I hate it. This battle dealt a severe blow to Numara. Although it is hard to imagine now, at the time, only a small handful of people, including Her Majesty, had magic abilities. The magical power source itself was still weak, and much of magic's inner workings were still a mystery. The Eastern Tribe used its spirit magic to engage in warfare in ways the Numarans had never imagined. As with black and white magic, spirit magic takes advantage of a mysterious unknown power, but its basic principle and methods are far from similar. In the end, the battle concluded with Numara's victory after Her Majesty reluctantly made use of her arsenal of black magic. The forest was soaked with the blood of Numarans and Eastern tribesmen, with countless dead on both sides buried where they lay. The battlefield, known today as the Crimson Forest, is now home to a legion of wandering spirits. Her Majesty, concerned with the danger that the forest poses, has prohibited entry into the woods ever since. Well, I guess we're gonna go there and fight a bunch of spirit monsters. Ransacking the town for fun and profit. pretty big-ass town. Oh, this is gonna be a dungeon. They didn't really set me off with the gold, did they? No, I guess my goal is just to leave. And go to the Crimson Forest. God, I love the map music. Go down this way or the other way? I don't remember. Oh no. I mean, these are cool things. I shouldn't have committed to reading them out loud. The ramparts will fall to the enemy. It is just a matter of time. They will mount their attack at dawn. The main body of the Allied forces has already drawn far back from the front. Only the mercenaries are left behind the barricade. Their orders, defended to the death. These men, who have gone from battlefield to battlefield, know exactly what that means. The talkative mercenary. Yeah, they're all gonna be slaughtered. They've just left us to die here, chuckles the one called Toma, in darkness too thick for a person to make out with his own hand. Or to make out his own hand. They want us to buy time so the main force can pull back further. We're supposed to be their shields, performing our final service for our employers. His dry, papery laugh shakes the darkness. Kime says nothing in reply. Other mercenaries must be gathered there around them in the blackness, but all keep their thoughts to themselves. Mercenaries have nothing to say to each other on the battlefield. They might be on opposite sides in the next battle. At a time like this especially, when they have to defend the barricade against the enemy's withering attack, they can't spare the time to even look at each other's faces. Kime knows nothing about this fighter called Toma. His voice sounds young. He probably has very little experience as a mercenary. If a man grows talkative in the face of death, it means that deep down somewhere, he has a weakness that prevents him from becoming a true soldier. A mercenary with even a hint of such weakness can never cheat death and live to see another day. It is the law of the battlefield, and a man like Toma will only learn that law in the moment before he loses his life. We're done for. We'll all be dead in the morning. We'll have that silent homecoming they talk about. I can't stand it. I just can't stand it. In the darkness, no voices rise to second these sentiments. It's too late for talk like this. The day they chose the mercenaries' path was when they should have resigned themselves to death. They sell their lives for a little money. They prolong their lives a day at a time. By taking the lives of one enemy... I read that as a period, not as a comma. They prolong their lives a day at a time, by taking the lives of one enemy after another. That's what a mercenary is. Nothing more, nothing less. Hey, can anyone hear me? How many of us are there? We're all going to die together. We'll just be a line of corpses in the morning. Don't shut up now. Answer me. No one says a thing. Instead of voices, the silent darkness begins to fill with a tangible sense of annoyance. Wordlessly to gather on the battlefield, wordlessly to fight the enemy, and just as wordlessly to die. This is the rule of the mercenary, the aesthetic of the mercenary, if such an expression may be permitted. But Toma has taken it upon himself to abandon that aesthetic. I knew it was hopeless from the start. Headquarters didn't know what they were doing. There was no way a strategy like that could work. You know what I'm talking about, don't you guys? We had to lose. It's a total mess. I wish to hell I had joined the other side, and we could have gotten a mountain of cash for winning. We could have drunk ourselves blind. We could have had all the women we wanted. I could have gone either way on this one, but I picked the wrong side to fight on. Hey, you! An older voice booms out of the darkness. An angry voice. Yeah? What? Answers Toma. His voice more vibrant now at having at last found someone willing to talk to him. As if to crush his momentary enthusiasm, the other man goes on. How about shutting up a while? If you really want to run off at the mouth that much, I can send you to the next world a step ahead of the rest of us. I'm sorry. Instantly dejected, Toma falls silent, and the darkness goes still again. The stillness is charged, however, with a deep tension. Far deeper, even, than before Toma started talking. The veteran warriors know. Watch out for talkative men. Being talkative means trusting in words, trusting too much in words. Words are useless on the battlefield. You take up your weapon in silence, you steel yourself in silence, you fight in silence. You kill the enemy, or he kills you, in silence. All the mercenaries here have lived this way, all but the talkative one. A soldier who clings too desperately to words may cling just as desperately to something else. To the sweet trap of betrayal, for example, or the seduction of desertion under fire, or the lure of madness. Kaim has often seen pitiful mercenaries who, unable to endure the terror of being surrounded by the enemy, go berserk and attack men from their own side. Will Toma prove to be another such case? The possibility is great, and no doubt the other men are thinking the same thing too. In the stillness, they turn the same gazes towards Toma that they reserve for confrontations with the enemy, looking for any signs of change in his demeanor. The moment they perceive the slightest threat in him, a blade will soundlessly pierce the left side of his chest. The left side of his chest. The silence continues. Not even the usual all-night cries of insects can be heard tonight, as they were last night. Perhaps the insects knew enough to clear out in advance of the enemy's dawn attack. The thought reminds Kaim that he saw no birds in the area yesterday either. Although animals came to snatch food when the men first built this fortification, there had been no sign of them for several days now. Animals have mysterious powers of foreknowledge that humans have lost. This becomes painfully obvious from any visit to a battlefield. There can be little doubt that the animals have turned their backs on this barricade. Right about now, in some distant forest, a huge flock of blackbirds may be taking wing in search of human corpses to strip of their flesh. It's feast time, boys. They already know, somehow. Once the sun is fully up, the battle will be over. If they don't get here first, they'll lose their feast to a flock from another forest. Their black bodies hidden against the night sky. Those birds now are probably flying for all they're worth. A voice in the night. Toma's voice. Weeping. Listen, you guys, I don't know how many of you are out there, but we're all gonna die in the morning. Or most of us. Maybe one or two will live to escape. No more. Think about it. Those are lousy odds. You've all been through this before. You're veterans, or heroes. You're probably not scared. But even so, even if you're not scared, don't you think this is stupid? Huh? Tell me. You've been through a lot more battles than I have, so tell me. What the hell are we here for? We don't hate the enemy. We don't know the leaders on our side anything. We've got to kill the enemy and follow our leader's orders. And we're still gonna end up dead. Tell me, you guys. Don't you think it's pointless? Don't you think it's stupid? The only response to Toma is the impatient click of a tongue in the darkness, followed by someone else's sigh of annoyance. I can't take it any longer, says Toma. I hate this. And now, he is sobbing. All I wanted was some money, and maybe something better to eat, and maybe nicer clothes. I would have been happy with that. What a mistake I made, taking work like this. I never should have done it. Kaim keeps all his senses open for movement in the night. Aside from himself and Toma, 5 other soldiers are crouching down in the darkness. Not bad. All are experienced warriors. They would not have been able to put up with Toma's whining otherwise. If they let themselves get angry and started shouting him, or grabbing him by the throat, or wailing away at him, they would just end up consuming their strength and energy before their work started to dawn. If this is an assemblage of men who know how to keep their silence, the chances for life are that much greater, assuming, that is, that the talkative, weeping man does not become too great a burden for the rest of them. Still sobbing, Toma continues to curse his fate. Suddenly, something is different. Something stirs in the silence. This could be bad, Kaim thinks, sharpening his attentiveness still more. When dawn breaks, Toma will get in our way. Because of him, the possibility for life will wither. The mercenaries know that, and because they know it, they might do whatever it takes for them to secure for themselves even the slightest added chance to live. I don't want to die here, I tell you. Not now. Not here. Like a worthless dog. You guys feel the same way, don't you? Moonlight shines down from a rift in the clouds. For a split second, Toma's tear-stained face appears in the darkness. He is even younger than Kaim imagined from the sound of his voice. He is practically a boy. The clouds hide the moon again, and thick black darkness enfolds everything once more. A dull light stirs in the depths of the darkness. Without a word, Kaim darts, wind-like, towards it. He was able to gauge the distance between himself and Toma during the flash of moonlight. Kaim grabs Toma's arm. Something hard falls to the ground. The dull light flashes again, this time at their feet. It melts again into the darkness. A knife, driven by the fear of death. Toma was trying to slit his own throat. Toma twists away and tries to free his arm from Kaim's grasp, but Kaim chops him in the solar plexus. Without uttering a sound, Toma passes out. Oh, nice guy Kaim. With Toma slung across his back, Kaim strides through the darkness. Eventually Toma wakes and thrashes his legs to get loose. Stop it! Let me go! Kaim lowers him to the ground. Every once in a while the moon comes out. Check your direction when that happens. Go straight towards the setting moon, Kaim says gently. What the hell are you talking about? It's the only way you can get out of here. Kaim has chosen the thinnest part of the enemy's encirclement. Of course, there is no guarantee that getting through here will save him. From now on, Toma will have to believe in his own luck and abilities. Are you coming too? Toma asks. No, I'm going back. You escape alone. Why? You come too. Let's both escape. Come with me. Toma clings to Kaim's arms as he pleads with him, but Kaim gives him a hard slap on the cheek. The flesh of that cheek is too soft to belong to a veteran warrior. It is the flesh of a boy, a kid. You go alone. But why? To live, that's why. What about you? You want to live too, don't you? You should run away with me. You don't want to die, do you? Want to live? No, Kaim has no great desire to live. He lives because there is nothing else he can do. He lives because he has to. Toma is far too young, his own burden of life far too fragile for him to know the pain of such a life. We live to fight. That's what mercenaries do. But get the hell out of here. You're ruining it for the rest of us. You guys will never win this battle, so why not run away? It's our job to fight. With that, Kaim turns on his heels and starts back the way they came. Toma stands there, watching Kaim move away, and a moment later, he himself darts into the western forest. Yeah, Kaim. Like solid waste before it becomes poop, when it's really liquidy. To fight or to flee, Kaim cannot know which holds out the greater promise for life. He also believes it is better not to know. Except, I hope you make it, boy, he mutters, walking on. The eastern sky is beginning to brighten little by little. Soon the enemy's all-out attack will begin. It's time. From the western forest, a few birds take to the air. Perhaps it means that a small-scale battle has started in the silence, or that the poor young mercenary has been felled with his back to the enemy. Kaim does not look back or break his stride. He feels certain that he has seen that talkative mercenary before the war broke out. The boy was selling fruit in the market along the highway. He was a good boy, took good care of his mother. The women of the market were saying, God damn it, I hate when I mistie a comma. Live a long, full life, Kaim. Live a long, full life. Kaim wishes for the boy as he himself walks on, glaring at the glistening eastern sky. No, it's not Kaim, it's Kaim. Although Kaim is a very pretty man, so if he makes you come, I don't blame you. But I do judge you for it. Man, nobody likes Toma. He's probably dead. Damn it, I just wanted the other side. Let me take your gondola. What the fuck is that thing, and why is it spinning? I'm just gonna assume art. And none of these plants can be taken from. So this whole building was kind of a waste. A very pretty waste, though. Yeah, I've definitely been through here. But it was worth going back. Again? So soon? God damn it. Man, the one stream where I didn't get water either. Letters from a weakling. Once there was a woman who came from a foreign land to marry into an old family. Her husband was from a tiny village in the mountains, but he was working in a thriving harbor town abroad when he met and fell in love with her. At the time, he asked her to marry him. His father in his home country Oh, fucking hell, I'm so bad at the timing on these sentences. At the time he asked her to marry him, his father in his home country collapsed and died. Being the eldest son in his family, the young man had no choice but to return to his homeland, taking her with him, of course. Her name was Mina. This was not a name used by the woman of his homeland. Indeed, her name was not the only thing about her that was different. The color of her skin, hair, and eyes, and the language she spoke were all different. Had the young man's hometown been a harbor city where people of many different lands crossed paths, there would have been nothing unusual about this. In such places, there were any number of homes that welcomed foreign men and women into the family, generation after generation. But this is about as deep in this country as you can get, the young man told Kime, sighing on the night he made Mina his wife. Kime had rushed here all the way from the harbor town in the far country to attend the wedding. At the banquet, the young man had given Kime a look, and the two had slipped away from the festivities. To fuck. They were standing in the garden, looking up at the night sky. When the eldest son marries, his wishes are of no importance. What matters is family. The two families negotiate the engagement, and a bride is chosen who is acceptable to the groom's parents. That's how it was with my parents, and my grandparents did the same. I know what you mean, Kime said with a nod. Judging from the formal wedding ceremony, it was easy to imagine the highly conservative nature of the area, and just as easy to imagine that the relatives had not welcomed Mina into the family. Alex, Kime said to the young man. Yes, the young man answered, still looking up at the sky. You are the only one who can protect Mina, you know. I know that much, Kime. Mina is a wonderful girl. I know that too, of course. The three were good friends. Kime and Alex had worked together offloading ships at the same pier, and also together they had often gone to the neighborhood where Mina worked in an outdoor stall. Even now, Kime retains the bittersweet memory of Alex and Mina struggling to communicate in each other's languages. You know, Kime, Alex said that night under the sky. Okay, yeah. I think you sensed it too, but Mina was drawn less to me than to... Kime cut him short. Never mind, he said with a pained smile. Of course Kime knew how Mina felt, and if he had responded to her feelings, she and Alex would not have been married here today. But Kime had held back. Instead, he urged Alex to pursue his love for Mina and help the two come face to face. He felt no regrets about having played the part of an unlikely Cupid for them. Destined to continue his never-ending journey, Kime was unable to love Mina in return. One of Alex's uncles stepped out of the house. Drunk. Hey Alex, what are you doing out there? He growled. The groom can't be absent from the reception. Sure, I'll be right there, Alex said, turning towards his uncle. Kime tapped him on the shoulder. Make Mina happy, Alex. Leave it to me, he answered with a smile. Come on, said the uncle. Hurry up. The groom's supposed to sit there the whole time. The entire family is here, and we're gonna drink the night away. He grabbed Alex's hand and dragged him back into the house. The man was all smiles with Alex, but when he glanced at Kime, his borderline polite smile could not disguise the gleam of distrust in his eye for an outsider. Kime was sure he had noticed the same gleam, though perhaps not as openly displayed, in eyes that alighted on Mina. So that was the kind of village to which Mina had come as a bride. You'd better make her happy, Alex, Kime called out again towards his friend's receding form. I'm counting on you. But now the uncle had his arm around Alex's shoulders, and he was noisily monopolizing his nephew's attention. Alex never heard those words from Kime. It was 3 months later when Alex came to visit Kime at work on the pier. I'm in town on a buying trip, so I thought I'd stop by and say hello, Alex announced. But judging from the fatigue evident on his friend's face, Kime had a pretty good idea of his real reason for coming here. As casually as possible, Kime asked, How was Mina doing? With a feeble smile, Alex replied, After the wedding, things happened. Mina had been accepted neither as a member of the family nor as a resident of the village. There were too many differences in daily customs and culture, but the one thing that made Mina too different from the tiny village was the brown color of her skin. Oh, racist town. Boo. If only she could speak with people. Mina is trying her best to learn our language, but my mother and the other relatives make no attempt to learn hers. Not so much as a good morning or a thank you. They insist it's up to the daughter-in-law to do all the adapting. Still, Mina was working hard to draw closer to Alex's family and birthplace. She would be the first to sit... She would be the first one out on the fields in the morning, working without a break until the sun went down, and do sewing late until late at night. She would try to talk to the people in the local dialect that Alex had taught her using gestures and body language, and she would apologize profusely, that's me, with abject smiles, whenever she failed to understand what they were saying. Kime could easily imagine Mina going through these exertions, which made Alex's report all the more painful to him. You should come visit us now and again. Kime, Mina would love to see you too. Kime responded vaguely with a silent nod. When Alex added, I want you to come and cheer her up. He said nothing in reply. What's wrong, Kime? Are you angry? I'm not going to visit. Why not? You promised me you'd make her happy, remember? We agreed that you're the only one who can do that. But still. Sorry, I haven't got time for this. I have to get this ship loaded before it sails at sunset. With this curt dismissal, Kime turned away and continued working. Alex stared at him from behind, looking frustrated and confused. Kime could feel his friend's gaze on his back. Because he could feel it, he kept working without another backward glance. Eventually, Alex gave up and left. Neither man spoke words of farewell. A year after the wedding, Mina gave birth to a son. The boy had brown skin like his mother. He had just started crawling when Alex visited Kime again. There was talk of a divorce, Alex said. There's nothing wrong with our relationship. Mina and I love each other, that's for certain. But my mother and the relatives say there is no way they can accept a brown-skinned child as the family heir. His existence supposedly harms the marriage prospects of my younger brother and sister, too. So they want us to send the baby to Mina's family. It's gone that far. Alex had lost a great deal of weight. He was obviously living with much pain every day, trapped as he was between family and Mina. None of this made sense to Kime. However trapped Alex might be, as long as he was firm on what was important to him, there could only be one answer to his family's demands, and he should be able to arrive at it without such anguish or confusion. I know how strong you are, Alex sighed, speaking to Kime's back as Kime went on hoisting huge, spine-snapping crates in silence. The longshoremen here were well paid for handling crates on their own, loads that it would take 3 ordinary men to lift. The daily wage was calculated by the number of loads each man lifted, so asking for help would result in a pay cut. For this reason, Kime and the others never complained or asked for help. They would lift even the heaviest loads by themselves. Alex had been like that too. If someone nearby asked him, "Are you going to be okay with that?" he would be all the more determined to do it on his own. Fine, fine, he would smile, and gritting his teeth, he would lift the giant load. But Alex wasn't like that anymore. I'm starting to think that, maybe, in the long run, tying Mina down to a life in my village is just not going to make her happy. It's just going to make her unhappy. My relatives say they'll support Mina and the baby, so it's not as if I'd be abandoning her or chasing her away. It's just that, for both our sakes, starting a new life. Having finished piling crates on the deck, Kime turned toward Alex for the first time. He was looking down at Alex on the pier. And you're all right with that? No? If you're convinced it's the right thing, then go ahead and do it. It's not for me to interfere. Alex's features distorted on the impact of Keim's words. Keim said nothing more but went back to work. His anger and frustration were reaching the boiling point. Alex had no idea that Mina had been writing to Keim on occasion since shortly after the wedding, about the hardships she had been facing in the home of her husband's family. She said not a word. Instead, she would spell out how happy her current life was, and declare repeatedly how much Alex loved her. Always, the letters would end like this. I'm sure you, too, must be living happily, Keim. This was why Alex's report on the situation at home had filled him with such intense anger and frustration. He had never answered Mina's letters. He felt certain that if he were to write her, whether with words of encouragement or comfort, or even playing along with her sad lies, something important that gave her spiritual support would snap in two. Come see the baby, Keim, Alex pleaded. Mina would be thrilled if you'd do that. Instead of responding to Alex, Keim called out to him from on deck. See that crate over there? Can you lift it? The crate near Alex was of the same size and weight as the one Keim had just loaded onto the ship. In the old days, Alex would not have hesitated to carry it up to the ship, every muscle in his body shuddering. Now, however, Alex gave Keim one timid glance and, smiling to hide his embarrassment, said, "Not me." Keim said nothing more. He felt strongly that their long friendship had come to an end, though in fact, for Keim, whose life would go on through all eternity, it had been nothing more than a momentary acquaintance. Keim has been on his endless journey ever since. Now and then he thinks back to those bygone days. Both Alex and Mina long ago came to dwell among his distant memories, the kind of memories that revive with a deep sense of bitterness. And they are there to this day. It just keeps going. Alex made his third trip to see Keim a year after the baby was born. Having wasted away to a mere shadow of his former self, Alex stared vacantly at Keim, and his voice lacked all intonation as he announced Mina's death. She had killed herself. Hanged herself in the barn. Keim was amazed at his own detachment as he took in Alex's words. Mina's letters had stopped coming several months earlier. Either she no longer needed to spin those sad little lies about being accepted by Alex's family and the townsfolk, or she had lost the strength to invent them anymore. In effect, it was the latter, Keim was learning now. To the very end, she could not make anyone accept her. My mother, my family, or the town, Alex said tearfully. She was all alone, finally, to the bitter end. Without a word, Keim punched Alex in the face. Alex seemed to know and accept the fact that the punch would be coming. He did nothing to resist or defend himself. The fist hit him full on and sent him sprawling in the road. Hey man, fuck you. Why? Keim demanded to know. Why did you say she was all alone? When Alex readied himself, he smashed him in the face again. Alex began coughing violently and uncontrollably, and when he spat up a gob of blood, a broken tooth came out with it. Keim knew well enough that Alex had been suffering too, that he had been engaged in a desperate struggle to do something about being trapped between family and wife. Otherwise, he would never have wasted away so dramatically from the brawny young man he used to be. As well as he knew this, however, Keim could not forgive him. He had promised, he had given his word, he would make Mina happy. He would protect her. Keim could never forgive Alex for failing to make good on his oath. Wiping away the blood with the back of his hand, Alex dragged himself to his feet. I know how strong you are, he said to Keim, as he had once before, but this time his words took on a far sadder tone. But let me tell you this, Keim. My mother, and my relatives, and the others, their way of looking at things is not completely crazy. To live in peace and quiet in the country, you have to follow the country's special rules. It just so happens that one of those rules was not to accept a bride like Mina. I was born and raised in that village, and I know the village code. Know it all too well. Which is why I've been in such pain all these months. I'm a weakling, I suppose. In your eyes, I'm probably so weak you want to spit on me. So laugh at me, hit me, despise me if you want to. Come on, hit me again. Alex thrust his face at Kime for more punishment, and Kime threw another punch. Blech. This one landed squarely on his nose. He may have broken it. Alex crumpled to his knees. The blood that gushed from his nose was blacker than the blood from his mouth. Alex looked up at Kime with a smile of self-derision. Mina should have been with you. That's what I think. If she had married you and not some weakling like me, she'd still be alive. With a wordless, strangled cry of rage, Kime lunged at Alex, grabbing him by the collar and hoisting him to his feet. Another punch, and still another. Kime was not planning to stop punching Alex. Now, though, with Kime's hand still fastened to the front of his shirt, Alex looked straight at Kime for the first time since coming to the dock. Why didn't you ever answer Mina's letters? That's all she was hoping for. A letter from you. So he knew. Alex knew everything. It's terrible out there in the country. Anybody who wants to can find out who wrote letters and who got them. Everybody out there is like family. Everybody but Mina, that is. If Alex had wanted to, he could have quashed Mina's letters easily. Then, not one of her sad little lies would have ever reached Kime. But instead, Alex had read the letters, resealed the envelopes, and sent them to Kime, one after another. He had internalized Mina's sad little lies and started looking for Kime's answers, even before she did. Kime stopped his fist in midair and asked, "How could I have possibly answered her?" "Why not?" Alex retorted. "You knew how trapped she was feeling. You must have known how much encouragement one word from you could have given her. But you were Mina's husband." "Yes, that's true. But you were always the one deepest in her heart. I knew that, and because I knew it, there was only one thing I could do." "No, that couldn't be." Astounded, Kime lowered his fist as Alex said to him, "I wrote to her. I pretended I was you, and I wrote her letter after letter. Be strong, I told her. Keep your spirits up. I'll come to see you soon. You're too strong, Kime, so you can't understand the feelings of weak people. But I don't have that problem. I'm weak. I understand how a weakling like Mina felt." Alex cried, the blood streaming from his nose and mouth. "There is one thing I don't know, though, Kime. I don't know whether Mina actually believed that the letters I wrote were from you, or whether she knew that I was doing and pretended to believe. Knew what I was doing. I wonder, was life in my village so painful to her that she couldn't go on living there without pretending to believe?" Kime made no attempt to answer Alex's question. Slowly, he let the strength go out of his clenched fist, and then released his grip on Alex's shirt. Alex drew a step back from him, then took another step, putting distance between them before his final revelation. "There was one letter, just one, that I didn't send to you. That was 3 months ago. It was the first letter in which Mina begged you for help. She said she wanted to run away and asked you to come and save her, as soon as possible, to rescue her and the baby. That was the letter Alex threw away. Posing as Kime, he wrote a 2-word answer: be strong. Fuck this guy. The day after she read the letter from Alex, Mina hanged herself in the barn. Kime stood rooted to the spot, crestfallen. This left him momentarily defenseless. Alex shot his fist at Kime's solar plexus. Those feeble blow could hardly be called a punch. The pain it inflicted might have been greater for Alex's own fist than for Kime's superbly conditioned muscles. What an idiot I was. Be strong. Such words might have meant something to somebody like you. But to burden a weak person like Mina with them? No. They could only break and crush her. Alex gave another tearful, self-disparaging smile and thrust his face towards Kime. So hit me. I don't give a damn. Hit me all you want. Beat the hell out of me. But let me ask you this, Kime. If I had sent her last letter to you, would you have finally answered that one? Would you have been able to accept Mina in all her weakness? Kime did not know how to answer this question, nor did he raise a clenched fist to Alex again. So ended the story of Kime and Alex. Alex turned and walked away, but Kime could not bring himself to call out to him. He simply stood there, drained of all emotion, and watched him go. Alex did, however, turn to face Kime again when he had put enough distance between them so that Kime could barely make out his voice. I can tell you this much, Kime, he shouted. I am going to raise that boy of mine. I'll make him into a man of my village. I may have been too weak of a husband, but as a father, I'll do better. I'll make him happy. Kime returned his words with a silent nod. Alex allowed the hint of a smile to show on his badly swollen face. He then turned on his heels once more and strode away. Kime never saw Alex again. It's quite the happy ending. Every now and then, Kime remembers Alex and Mina as he proceeds on his endlessly long journey. When he thinks back on what he himself was like in those days, wanting only to be strong in all things, the memory is a bitter one. If only he had been the person he is today, the present-day Kime would not have rejected such human weakness. Now he can accept the fact, sometimes with a pained smile, sometimes with genuine heartbreak, that everyone is weak. If only he could begin his journey again, Mina might not have had to die. But this is no more than a hopeless dream. He meets them only once, and they are gone forever. The mortals, the humans, the ones without eternal life. This is what makes them all the more dear to him. This is what makes his breast burn for them. Aware now that he has failed to love human weakness throughout his battles and his wanderings, Kime turns his steps towards Alex's old village. Alex himself, of course, is long since dead. But Alex's descendants, he can tell at a glance. They have brown skin. Brown-skinned youths are the ones in charge of the village festivals. Brown-skinned old women teach girls how to weave floral decorations. Brown-skinned children and those who are not brown play together in all innocence, free of care. Perhaps this can comprise a tiny epilogue to the story of Alex, Kime, and Mina. The graves of Alex and Mina lie side by side atop a low, windswept hill. Kime picks flowers from the field and offers them at the doomed couple's graves before returning to the road. What is human strength, after all? Kime still does not know the answer to this question. And this is why, again, today his journey must go on. End. Gosh, these things are long. Hey, you know basketball stuff. Was it LeBron James who came out and said he wasn't going to tell anyone if he was going to get vaccinated or not? That came up in therapy today for some reason. Damn it, Tom. I expect you to know all the juicy gossip. And what's that last thing I'm missing? Got the doll, got the gondola. Tell me, child, what do you seek? Okay, red balloon. Here's something red. Oh. I don't see anything particularly red by there, but okay. See if that was worth it. What the fuck is Kelolon? Well, I'm immune to it. Oh, fucking hell! The dream has been revealed. Yeah, we all gotta suffer through this shit, man. Don't forget me now, you hear? Brother dear. The cry comes from behind as he wades through the post-town crowds. Oh, post-towns. Okay, post-towns crowd. At first, Kime does not realize that the person is addressing him, and he walks on in search of lodging for the night. But the cry comes again, all but clinging to him. Brother dear, big brother. I'm not going to do that anymore. I hate trying to be a Southern belle. This is puzzling. He last visited the town 80 years ago. There can't be anyone here who knows him. Wait, big brother, don't go. His puzzlement begins to take on an eerie edge, for the voice addressing him as big brother can only belong to an old woman. Without letting his guard down, he turns, slowly, and she was a ghost. Just as he thought, it is an old woman. Dressed in the clothing of a young girl, the tiny old woman is looking straight at Kime, with a bright smile on her face. I think you may have the wrong person, he says, allowing his discomfort to show. No, I don't, she says with a big shake of the head and an expanding smile. You're big brother Kime. What? What's wrong, Kime? Did you forget me? Well, I mean, he can't place her. Even if he were to succeed in doing so, he knows he has no acquaintances in this town. He wonders, could this be a chance-free encounter with someone he once met on the road? But no, he is sure he doesn't recognize her. And strangest of all, why should this woman who looks old enough to be his grandmother address him as big brother? Don't pretend you don't know who I am, Kime. You're so mean. She yells at him loudly enough that people in the crowd stop and stare at them. It is not just the fact that she is shouting, of course. People always have to shout to be heard in these crowded streets. That alone would not attract attention. The old woman's voice is different from a normal adult yell. It is like the innocent, unrestrained cry of a little girl who throws her whole body into her scream. People turn shocked expressions on the old woman and quickly avert their eyes. Their dismay is understandable. The old woman has her stark white hair tied up with a colorful ribbon, and her dress has the same floral pattern and floppy sleeves as a little girl's. Many of the passerby look at the old woman with a mix of sympathy and pity on their faces. Gradually, Kime begins to comprehend the situation. This old woman has simply lived too long. This is why the past, locked away in her memory, has become realer to her than the reality before her eyes. Oh, this is fucking sad. I don't deal well with this kind of stuff. A middle-aged passerby tugs on Kime's elbow. If I were you, I would just walk away. Don't get involved with her. She's nothing but trouble. It's true, says the wife by his side, nodding. You're a stranger here, so you don't know, but this old woman is senile. You can ignore her. She'll forget everything in 5 minutes. They may be right, but the fact is, this old woman knows Kaim's name. In the little girl part of her mind, she thinks of Kaim as her big brother. He tries probing his distant memories. Yeah, you should try probing that old granny. He spent no more than a few days here so long ago. He got to know very few people, and there can't be any of those left who still remember him. When Kaim goes on standing before the old woman, the nosy middle-aged couple become indignant. You try to be helpful. What does it get you? Snorts the husband. Let them work it out for themselves, adds the wife. Let's just go, which they proceed to do. Winding up her voice from maximum shrillness, the old woman calls out to them as they walk off in a huff. Don't forget me now, you hear? In that instant, Kaim's memory makes the connection. Well, dude's 1,000 years old. He's done more than enough probing for several lifetimes. The old woman greets his look of recognition with an expression of joy. Do you remember me now? She cries. I'm Shushu. It's me, Shushu. He does remember her. The little girl he met in the town 80 years ago. No, he's just kind of immortal. They don't really address how or why, but like, him and the one girl with us, they're immortal. It's a mechanic and it's a story thing that they just haven't explained yet. Perhaps 5 or 6 years old at the time, she was a precocious little thing whose lack of shyness with strangers came from her being the daughter of an innkeeper. Man, him and the innkeeper's daughters, they just keep intertwining. Somewhere along the way, she had probably picked up a phrase she heard someone using, and so whenever a guest would depart after a number of days at the inn, instead of the standard goodbye or thank you, she would see the person off with a smile and a cheery, don't forget me now, you hear? He could be a vampire. No symptoms of it yet. Only now, when he is suddenly able to see the girl's face beneath the wrinkles, Kai must... Oh, I fucked that sentence up bad. Only now, when he is suddenly able to see the girl beneath the wrinkles, Kai must avert his gaze from the old woman's face. What's wrong, big brother? He cannot bring himself to look directly at Shushu's vacant stare. 80 years have gone by. What can they talk about when a man who never ages meets a little girl from the distant past who has aged too much? Let me through here, please. Sorry, let me through here. Please. Forcing his way through the crowd, a young man rushes up to where Shushu and Kaim are standing. Great-grandmother, how often do I have to ask you not to go out without telling me? After scolding the old woman, he turns to Kaim with an apologetic bow. I'm terribly sorry if she's been a bother to you. She's old and getting senile. I hope you can forgive her. Shushu herself, however, angrily purses her lips and demands to know, what are you talking about? I'm just playing with Big Brother Kaim. What's wrong with that? She peers the young man and asks, who are you? The young man turns a sad gaze on Kaim and begins to apologize again. With a pained smile, Kaim stops him. Kaim knows that, at times, it can be sadder and more heartbreaking for a life to be prolonged than for it to be cut short. Sad and heartbreaking though a life may be, however, no one has the right to trample on it. No, not murder. Specifically not murder. She just can't seem to get it through her head that she's old. Even I hold up a mirror to her, she asks, who's that old lady? The young man, whose name is Kashi, further explains the situation to Kaim. She might forget that she ate breakfast, but her memories from childhood can be clear as a bell. Kaim nods in understanding. Kashi and Kaim sit on a bench in the town plaza, watching Shushu pick flowers. She is apparently making a floral wreath for her long-lost big brother. Yeah, the granola, why not? What else? Cache? How else do you fucking pronounce that, man? I don't know. But really, sir, do you have time for this? Weren't you in a hurry to get somewhere? No, I'm fine, don't worry. Thanks very much. He smiles for the first time and says, I haven't seen her this happy in ages. The The young man seems convinced that his great-grandmother has encountered in Kaim a person who resembles someone she knew as a child. Kaim allows him this. He knows that Kashi cannot, and need not, imagine the existence of a person who never ages. Cash? No. S-C-H-E? That's a she, man. Her health has really deteriorated lately. Whenever she runs a fever, we wonder if this is going to the end for her, and we prepare for the worst. But then she springs right back. Sometimes we joke that her mind is so far gone, she's forgotten to die. Kaim sees the young man in profile. Kashi has a gentle smile on his face as he speaks to his great-grandmother. No doubt when he was little, she used to hold him and play with him. Grown up now, Kashi watches over his great-grandmother like a parent, watching his own child. He calls out to her, "That's nice, great-grandmother. I haven't seen you eat flowers together like that in a long time." Squatting in the grass with a fistful of flowers, Shushu answers, "That's not true. I made a wreath for him yesterday." Then she says to Kaim, "Isn't that right, big brother? You wore it in your hair for me, didn't you?" Kaim cups his hand around his mouth and calls back to her, "I certainly did. It smelled so nice." Shushu's face becomes a mass of joyful wrinkles. Overcome with emotion, Kashi bows his head. Kaim asks Kashi, "Are you the one who takes care of her?" "Uh-huh. Me and my wife Cynthia." "How about your parents? Or even your grandparents? Are they still living?" Kashi shrugs and says, "I'm the only other member of my family left alive." His grandparents both died in an epidemic 20 years ago. Epidemic like we have right now. It's so timely. His father lost his life in the war that enveloped this area 10 years ago. His mother, Shushu's granddaughter, aged more rapidly than her own mother, and the lamp of her life was snuffed out 5 years ago. Racism like now. So my great-grandmother has had to keep holding funerals over the years for her children and grandchildren. Before we noticed, she'd become the oldest person in town. It must be lonely living that way. "I'm sure," answers Kaim. "It might even be a kindness of the gods to let people fade out mentally when they've lived too long. At least that's how I've come to see it lately. You would think she would feel lonely to be left behind that way, but she's not lonely at all. To live long means you have a lot of memories. Maybe it's not such a bad thing to live in the world of your memories during the last days of your life." Shushu stands up, her arms filled with flowers. "Big brother Kaim, I'm going to make a floral wreath for you right now. And if I have any flowers left over, I'll make one for this other person too." Kaim and Kashi look at each other with bewildered smiles. "Why are you smiling like that?" Shushu asks. "Are you two friends now?" She opens her wrinkle-ringed eyes wide in surprise, gives the two men a joyful smile, and collapses into the grass. Oh, fuck, she died. Oh, no. Oh, no. I hate this. This one's the fucking worst. Kashi starts to run for a doctor, but Kaim grabs his arm and holds him back, saying, "You'd better stay with her." Ironically, Kaim, who can never truly know what it feels like to age, has been present for that very reason at countless deaths over the years. His experience tells him that Shushu will not recover this time. Shushu is lying on her back where she has fallen. Her armload of flowers now spread over her chest. Her face wears a smile. "Wait just a minute, big brother Kaim. I'll make your wreath for you right away." Her mind is still lingering among her memories of the past. Will she stay like this to the very end? "Keep fighting, great-grandmother. Don't let go." Kashi clings to her hand, tearfully shouting encouragement. But she may not even realize that this is her own great-grandson. "It's me, great-grandmother. It's me, Kashi. Have you forgotten me? Have you? I bathed you last night. You knew who I was then, didn't you?" Kashi appeals to her will with all his might. Appeals to her, whatever. But Shushu, a girlish smile on her lips, is departing for that distant world. Don't you fucking say it. "I'm gonna be a father soon, great-grandmother. Remember? I told you last night. Cynthia has a baby inside. It's going to make you a great-great-grandmother. Our family is going to grow. Another person with your flesh and blood. Still smiling, Shushu grasps one of the flowers on her chest in her trembling fingers. She thrusts it towards Kashi, and in a voice no more than a whisper, she says, "Don't forget me now. Here." Kashi doesn't understand. Indeed, how could he know the little phrase she always used to speak long before he was born? Kaim puts his arm around Kashi's shoulder and says, "Answer her." "I know what you mean, great-grandmother. I won't forget you. I will absolutely never forget you. How could I forget my own great-grandmother?" "Don't forget me now, you hear?" "I won't forget you, great-grandmother. Believe me, I'll always remember you." "Don't forget me now, you hear?" Please don't keep that going. Shushu closes her eyes and lays her hand on the flower on her chest as if groping there for something. She seems almost to be trying to open the door where the memories are sealed. A soft breeze moves over her. The flowers adorning her chest dance in the wind along with the memories. Surely among those memories is the Kaim of 80 years ago. Kaim snatches at one of the petals dancing in the wind, enclosing it in the palm of his hand. Shushu will never open her eyes again. She is left on a journey to a world where there is no past or present. The only ones she has left behind are Kaim, who will go on living forever, and Kashi, who is about to welcome a new life into the world. Clinging to her corpse, Kashi raises his tear-stained face to look at Kaim. "Thank you so much," he says to Kaim the Traveler. "Thanks to you, my great-grandmother was so happy to be picking flowers at the very end." "No, it wasn't thanks to me," Kaim says. He closes his fist on the petal in his hand and says to Kashi, "I'm sure if she had made a wreath, she would have given it to your sweet new baby." Kashi shyly cocks his head and mutters, "I hope you're right." But then smiling through his tears, he declares, "I'm sure you are." About that promise you made to her, be good, and don't forget her. No, of course not. People go on living as long as they remain in someone's memory. With these words, Kaim begins to walk away. Slowly, behind him, fuck that, I ruined that. With these words, Kaim begins to walk slowly away. Behind him, hears Shushu's voice. "Don't forget me now, big brother Kaim. You hear?" It is the voice of the little girl from 80 years ago, ringing ever clear, sweet and innocent, declaring farewell to the man who will travel life forever. End. I really need to get water. God, what was I even doing? Oh yeah, I've run out of places to go. Are we fully healed? Yeah. Kinda bummed I never found a weapon shop. Alright, with that, I'm gonna call this an episode. I'm gonna go grab myself some water. So if you're on Twitch, I will be back with you in 5 to 10 minutes. If you're on YouTube, I will catch you next episode. Bye.